Delmarva Almanac welcomes you to Arts and Times, Delmarva's quarterly magazine and community calendar. Jewelry designer Bev Harrington makes wearable art and lovely mobiles. For many years, Bev has spent her summers creating and selling jewelry in local shops and shows. Then she and her husband travel southward for the winter, like snowbirds.
We have a boat called Tiki Adventures, and it's an 80-foot trawler that we took 2.5 years and every penny of our life and remodeled for surfing adventures in Costa Rica. We went there 1 year and did a few. It was awesome. It was hard living off the coast a third of a mile for 7 months with really no marinas, but we conquered it. I conquered it, and we needed to pay so much of our boat value to be able to do it again. So we decided, came back through the Panama Canal, and I started looking things up, and I found out the U.S. was the Virgin Islands. So we talked about it, and we both agreed we'd give it a shot. So for 6 years, in the winter for 6 months, we went down there and became a surfing and diving adventure boat, where we both started diving when we lived in the Florida Keys for 19 years. We took up diving. So Stormy and my son Drex went on to be master divers, and I went on to be an advanced diver. So we built a dive site on our boat and had enough gear for 14 people and just became avid divers with our charters, our week-long charters. And now we're doing surveys and research surveys for a lot for Johns Hopkins University, Duke University, University of Maryland. They're hiring us as the vessel to do their research on. So we've got a lot going on, a lot. And right now we're catching live sharks for aquariums all over the world.
Making a living on a boat and making jewelry have over the years become companion pursuits.
And me being a silversmith or jeweler on the boat, wherever we go, I'm able to do things that don't involve soldering, although I could, but I do the major soldering and bracelets and things in my studio in my backyard. But when I'm on the boat, I can still be creating and wrapping and, doing something for me. Friends of mine in the Caribbean started telling me their secret spots where to find sea glass, which I don't dive for the sea glass. People think we do. There are little secret beaches in the Spanish, British, English, French West Indies, wherever we were. I would go exploring, sometime by myself with our little dinghy. I had my own little boat, and off I'd go. We found bottles where the sea glass comes from. We eventually learned to dive and have special spots that were usually 65 feet deep, where we would dive and find the old bottles, hopefully intact. And that's always fascinating. And then you realize where that glass really comes from. These bottles, which can be 200- and 300-year-old bottles, old scallywag pirate grog bottles, old 300-year-old gin bottles, and so it's pretty exciting. There's history to it. There's a lot of history, and the charters were always fascinated, so it just egged me on more, to want to learn more about it. And then incorporating it in my jewelry is just a big bonus.
Bev began making jewelry as a young mother looking for a creative outlet.
I took a class in the Florida Keys Community College, 14 weeks, 1 night a week. I got away from home, had a babysitter while Stormy, my husband, was fishing a week at a time, and I always wanted to learn something new. My philosophy is to learn something new every year of your life, whether it's an art or something physical or whatever. And I've pretty much done that. I really have. So I took the class, and at the end of the class, I had created my version of a Hopi overlay bracelet. And when I showed it to the teacher, the finished product, he looked at me and he goes, that's not a beginner's project. And I kind of went, yeah, I know. Because I could see what the people in class were doing, and I guess I didn't know any better. I was very comfortable with the tools, and having done mobiles and art and weaving and baskets and everything for years, it just came easy. So, and I realized women have to have jewelry. So it stuck, and that's been 24 years ago, and I still love it. Well, when I started doing jewelry, I questioned myself. I said, well, it's kind of a decadent thing to do the first couple of years, and then one day a little light went on and said, something? You're making people really happy. I love it when a man will come up to my booth and he'll just stand there for about 5 minutes and he'll look and he'll just go, I want that one. And it makes me smile. I'll say, somebody special, huh? Yeah, I want that one. And I thought, he's going to surprise somebody, and whether it's a man or a woman or somebody buying for their mom or their daughter, or grandmothers love to shop for their grandchildren and children. It just makes you feel good.
Artisan jewelry making is part fine art and part production.
I make the bezel myself out of a sheet of silver and a piece of bezel wire and a piece of sea glass, and then I make the bracelet, the earring, the pendant, whatever. I like all the colors, but I think I tend to lean towards the tropical colors. The blues, turquoises, teals, greens. Yeah. If I have an idea, I'll get up that day and I'll make it, because that's what's nice about being your own artist. You can do what you want. And if I like it and I have the stuff, or if I don't have the supplies, I'll order it. And then I'll make a batch. I'll make like 7 new bracelets or a dozen of this, or I can make 20 pair of earrings in the same category. No two are ever exact, which is fun, but the idea is there. So I will mass produce, especially if getting ready for shows. Nobody sees me. I'm out in my studio for like 2 or 3 weeks.
Bev suggests people wanting to learn how to make jewelry should take a shop class to understand how things are built.
If you can get your hands on some kind of a class teaching you how to use tools, you can do anything in jewelry, because jewelry is just miniature tools. So that's why I think when I took the class in the Florida Keys, it all came really easy to me, because I had used these monster things, and then now he takes us down to little Dremels and little grinders, and which I had already known how to use. Helped me immensely.
Bev has been making seashells into mobiles since before she began making jewelry.
Having traveled everywhere from Ocean City, Maryland to Bali, Indonesia, I've collected shells for 40 years, really all over the world. So my mobiles really have become collectors' mobiles. They'll have like 50 different shells, and I try and make them all different. People still have my mobiles from 35 years ago. In fact, I have one in the other room, and it's probably at least 35 years old. When you find a seashell, there's a lot to it, and each one is more beautiful than the other, and they're perfect. And the first time I was sitting at Indian River Inlet while Stormy was surfing one day, I was out on the rocks, and I had a seashell, and I was thinking, man can't make something this beautiful. And I always felt that way, and I still do.
Bev admits to being a person of high energy who needs a lot of activity, but she finds that meditation and making jewelry complement an active life.
For one, I never thought I could move that slow. and people were always amazed. They said, how do you do that tedious stuff? But I need the focus. So for me, when you're focusing in on something and you're taking your time, because you have to take your time, you can't move too fast out there. I guess it's meditative, which I like to do that anyway. It's very soothing, and it's just my little space out there. Just 2 weeks ago, getting ready for this show, I had listened to one of my little tapes in the morning, just quiet me down, meditation, whatever you want to call it. And after I finished, I had an idea for a bracelet. Well, this is the bracelet. I had enough to make 7 of them, and they're my newest and one of my favorite. It's hard to explain how that happens, but it all works together. It truly does. I think the more you quiet yourself, the more your ideas come out.
Bev has been part of the Ocean City Art League since its beginning. You can find her work for sale at the Ocean City Center for the Arts and at local shows around the Delmarva Peninsula. Find out more about this artist and others at artsandtimes.org. The print edition and this video are sponsored by Worcester County Tourism. Visit the beach and beyond. Thank you for watching. This has been a Moonshell production.